please don't lie to yourself. There is no sense in talking yourself out of any of these things if they're present for you. There's no shame in any of this. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It's just what is, and you have a choice that you don't have to just have average. Some of these might be less than average, like they might be bothering you, and some of them might feel like, okay, yeah, they're good enough, or they're pretty good. But just know that everything could be better, and why not go for better? What's the point of just settling, right? If you may. You might be feeling at a loss for how to create connection, nourishment, and aliveness in your relationship. You might be feeling disconnected, resentful, like roommates, like you can't get on the same page. There's friction between you. There's conflict. You're feeling empty. You're feeling lonely. You're feeling like you don't know where to go from here. You feel kind of dead, like there's a black hole in your heart, right? And you're wondering, what do I do? How do I get out of this slump in my relationship? And how do I recapture the essence of who we were when we first met? Where is the juice for our relationship? Where is the we? Where is the yumminess that makes us who we are as a couple? It's very common for couples to experience that once they make a higher level of commitment, the part of the relationship that's the couple, the romantic couple, kind of gets lost in translation a little bit, and the partners become more like partners in life. And what's interesting is that sometimes partners don't even do that well. They kind of become like this non-entity couple. They don't do either one right. And so today I want to focus on the romantical side of things since we have Valentine's just around the corner, and I wanted to compile some concepts and insights here and some takeaways for you to kind of implement and automatically start lifting up, enriching, and spicing up your relationship. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that there are some flavors to when you're feeling like this. So I want to describe those a little bit, like if this is your relationship so that you recognize it. You probably already know from what I said so far, but just so that I validate that you're feeling some of these things. There's 6 things that I want to share with you that might be characteristics that you might be experiencing in your relationship. Now, point aside, you might think that everything's fine, that this is how things are. Oh, we've been together for a long time. This is what happens in relationships or things of that nature. And when I describe these characteristics, then you realize like, oh, maybe this is not so normal. Maybe I shouldn't settle for this status quo. Maybe we actually can rekindle what we had, the essence and the more fiery and the more just aliveness in our relationship, the stronger essence of the couple, the love partnership. And then I want to offer 11 characteristics or gifts or superpowers or actions, however you want to look at these, that when you cultivate them, when you play with them, when you practice them, when you pledge these, that you're going to embrace these and bring them forward more in your relationship, will start activating this love, the part of the couple that seems to have been on ice, right? So we want to activate the love partnership, the couple part of your relationship. Okay, so I'm going to start giving this to you. You might want to get a pencil or a pen or grab your note app and just grab some of these so that you could play with going forward and start enlivening your relationship. Really yummy stuff. One more thing that I want to highlight actually before I jump into the characteristics that you might recognize as descriptive of the current state of your relationship. And that is that as I go, I'll see what comes to me. At the end, I will offer a couple of free things for you to help you enrich any aspect of this that you want to play with to support you and creating your love partnership. Alrighty, so here we go. Ready? The first thing is that you might recognize that the couple, the relationship, your partner falls to the bottom of your priority list on a daily basis. Now, that concept in and of itself, you might think that my relationship, my partner, my couple is not even on my list. I don't intentionally think about that on a daily basis, on how to give it attention, how to take care of it, how to invest in it. So that in and of itself is an indicator that this might require some TLC for things to be different, and that there is an opportunity for things to be different that you might be more happy with at the end of the day. Now, when I list the things that will activate this romantical part, you will see that you will know what are some things to implement to not have your partnership, your couple, your relationship, your partner at the bottom of the list. It will help you automatically start putting it more forefront without too much effort. Okay, so I promise it's not going to be a lot of work. It's just a mindset shift. It's just a little realignment. So very easily and effortlessly, you could start creating the changes and addressing these characteristics that are making your relationship just average, right? When it could be so much better. And so just stay tuned for when I start giving you those 11 activations, if you may. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that your relationship might feel that lacks connection. You might be feeling the connection between you, the bond between you is frayed, the connection is dampened, that you can't really feel it. You can't really feel your partner, right? It's just your partner is just kind of like walking around like a roommate. They're just there, but there is not that deeper thing where you feel your partner, and even if they're not there physically present, your partner's still with you. Like that might be lacking. Number three is that the romance got lost in translation. So doesn't that make sense? If your partner's just there, barely there even, and they don't even make it to your priority list on a daily basis, how can you possibly feel or have romance? That just doesn't even add up, right? And so one of the things is bringing that romance back. Don't be intimidated by that idea. Maybe you never really had a lot of romance. You might not consider yourself a very romantical person. Your partner might not be very romantical. It's okay. Romance doesn't have to look like it does on the movies. Okay. But this just means that part of like wooing each other and having the other person be in forefront in our mind and doing the little gestures, that piece is gone. That was very prevalent when we first met. Like we want to please the other person, that thing is gone. And so we want to bring that back. All right. Number 4, the attraction has fizzled. Right? So you look at your partner and they might become really sloppy or frumpy, or they might be put together, but there's just no chemistry. They might not be looking great. They might have maybe not been taking care of themselves physically, where they might not be healthy, or at least have a lot of vitality or radiance. And other people might not even find them attractive. But a lot of times, this is really interesting, right? So sometimes partners look really good and other people find them really attractive, but there's nothing between the couple. So I say what I said as a grain of salt. It might not necessarily be the appearance, but rather the energy that's within. And so we want to bring that attraction back, whether it's driven by the appearance, or by something more internal. And I'd rather say that and, not or. So both, external and internal, so that attraction can really be hot. Okay, the next one. The lovers are missing. Now that means that you're just doing the business of life. You are going about your own business and you're taking care of some of the domestic items, if you're married, if you have children. But the partners, the lovers, the couple, the people that make up the couple, the essences that make up the couple are muted. They're on mute. So the part that brings that attraction, the part that has the sex, the part that makes you a couple, feels like it's not there. Okay, so that's another part that might be a characteristic of your current relationship. Then the next one is that you might have intimacy, but it's mechanical or superficial. You might have some physical moments. You might have some sexual intimate moments. You might have some sexual intimate moments, but they're not deep. They're not meaningful. They're not really connecting. They're not really ecstatic. They're not real. It's just sex. And it might be okay sex. It might be not so good sex. It might even be great sex, but just sex. And we could have more than that. We could take that to the next level. And we might want more of that. So it depends on what you're doing and how you're doing and how you're going about your relationship and your coupleness. This might have all kinds of different things happening here. And so a little side note, I've had people who haven't had sex in years come to therapy. And I have people who have sex all the time and they still have all kinds of issues. So one thing doesn't make the other, but this might be a characteristic in and of itself that's part of your couple, part of your relationship. That it's all right, right? But you're not just like, oh, we're good in that area. And please don't lie to yourself. There is no sense in talking yourself out of any of these things if they're present for you. There's no shame in any of this. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It's just what is. And you have a choice that you don't have to just have average. Some of these might be less than average, like they might be bothering you. And some of them might feel like, okay, yeah, they're good enough, or they're pretty good. But just know that everything could be better. And why not go for better? What's the point of just settling, right? If you may. We could have whatever we want. We could create whatever we want. So if we could go about, hey, let's level up the things. Why not? Okay, so that's for intimacy and the physical part of things. And that was number 6. So I'm gonna have timestamps in the description for the video, for the audio, depends on where you're watching this. So feel free to go back to the 6 and see if they resonate for you, if there's something in there. If it's something like, you know what, I haven't given that much thought, but come to think of it, yeah, I want more of what that area could give. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that as a problem, and I use the word problem lightly. I haven't thought of that as the thing, but maybe it is the thing. I could definitely go for more in that department or in that area where I would want more from us. Why not really make this the best that it could be? So just play with that, right? Again, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat your partner up. It's nobody's fault. There's none of that. It's just what God created, and just know that it can be up-leveled. And that's what we're here to do. So now I'm going to offer you the other items, the other characteristics or traits or skills or virtues or descriptors, whatever you want to call them, that will help the love partnership part of your relationship come out. Okay, so number 1 is flirtation. I don't know about you, but most relationships, when they first start, there's an element of flirtation. Maybe when you first met, before even it progressed to dating, there was some flirtation. As you were dating, there might have been some flirtation. And as the relationship progressed, there might have been some flirtation. But then it got lost in translation, but then it just kind of stopped. And so bringing that back. And you might feel awkward at first if your relationship is in a particular state or status. It might feel like, what? Like, what are you doing? It might feel weird to do it. It might feel weird to receive it. So start very subtle, right? It doesn't have to be full-on flirting. It could just be like a very subtle flirt, like a little smidgen of a flirt. Just play, experiment, right? So be subtle as you could be. If it's a little scary, and start playing with it, start experimenting, see if you start getting reactions from your partner, and then you could step it up as you go. You could make it more and more flirty and take more and more risks. Hey, you never know, that's the whole point. So that's number 1. Number 2 is playfulness. So same concept, right? A lot of these were probably there at the beginning, and then they started going away or stopping. As the relationship progressed, as you matured, as you aged, dare I say, as you had more responsibilities, the children, all the things, life, and some of these things go out the window. Now, I'm going to correct myself a little bit there. And And for those couples that are more mature in age who started together a little older, this is still applicable. So you might start it with these things, and then as you went along, they fizzled out. So it's more about the length of the relationship than the age of the partners per se. So as the relationship goes, you kind of get into patterns and things, and some of the things that made the relationship special at the beginning, kind of partners stop investing in those things because you achieved the goal of the commitment, and it's like, okay, fine, I don't have to invest in this anymore. And then you lose. You lose out on the benefits of keeping those things going. All right, so that was number 2, the playfulness. I don't know that I need to describe how to be flirtatious, how to be playful, right? So I'm going to leave that up to you to do your own little research, to play with that, to experiment. If you guys want more on this, by all means, let me know. I'll do my best to describe these more in depth, to own videos, own recordings, own different content. I don't know, whatever's needed. At this point, I'm trusting that you're capable, but if you need more on this, it doesn't mean that you're not capable. It just means that, hey, why not just let's create more activation around these things and hook us up, Emma, and that's totally fine. That's what I'm here to do. So just let me know if you need more. Okay, the next one is 3, which is curiosity. So with curiosity, we want to show our partner that what they say is cool, interesting. And as I say that I hear people's voices or reactions or things that I've heard in the past from partners, but it's not interesting. Or I have no interest in whatever he or she is saying, or like their work, their interests, their experiences, whatever. But this is how you get past that. This is not about the content, you see. This is where people go wrong in a lot of these things in relationship. They get stuck in the weeds with some of these things. And I said that because I'm thinking that this comes up a lot when people are trying to find common interests, right? So that's just something else. I could share a resource for that as needed. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, and then I'll let you know where to find more about that. But for now, for this, it's not about the content. It's about feeling your partner, feeling their excitement, or feeling their pain even, right? So feeling their experience, like being curious about them, what is happening for them, their experience, their happenings, their emotions, their reactions, their responses, how they were impacted. We are curious about our partner, not about the piece that you sewed together or how many touchdowns the game had or whatever, right? It's not about the particular activity per se, even though that's totally fine to throw in there too, but don't feel like you have to be interested in the thing that they're interested in. That is not the point. If you think like that you're losing the essence of this particular gift. Curious about our partner, how they're experiencing the thing, what happened for them, how they are impacted, their desires, their dreams, their wishes, their thoughts, whatever, about the things, or what the things brought out for them, or what the things do for them. You see, very different. Okay. The next one is interest, how to show interest and be interested in a partner. So it's very similar to curiosity, but this one is actually showing an interest in their thing. So it might not be interested to you per se, again, same concept, but interested in what the thing is. So we want to, with this one, show an interest in the thing that they're interested in, even if we're not interested in it. It's more about being engaged with them about their interests. That in of itself creates juice. So that was 4. Number 5 is attunement. Now, this one is super special. If you have the ability to bring this into interactions, you are way ahead of the game. Now, I order these in a way that I felt would show up in a development of the relationship, right? So I started with flirting, then playfulness, then curiosity, then interest, you see? So you start kind of going deeper as the relationship develops, if you may, or as you're starting to find this part of the relationship again. But they don't need to play in order. You don't have to play with these in order. Okay, so I'm going to say more about that at the end. But it felt that ordering them this way would make sense. So attunement, number 5, feels that it's a little deeper. And so you already have some of the other things under your belt. So it's easier to have a deeper level of being with the person, with your partner. So this reminds me of, and this is why I think this one is so special and dear to my heart. This reminds me of when I first started going out with my husband. And this is over 30 years ago at this point. And we were in college, and one of my friends said, I look at you and Pete, and she said, that's what I want. The way he looks at you and the way you guys look at each other, it's like you have like your own secret language. Like you just look at each other and it's kind of like you're talking to each other. Like you kind of know what's going on in each other's minds. And I thought that was so beautiful. What a beautiful observation to have about us, right? That was just gold. So that's what we want to kind of cultivate. Like when you look at your partner, you're kind of like, yes, like you're getting each other. Almost like you're reading each other's minds in not necessarily with words or with knowing what the other person is thinking. I'm not promoting being a mind reader and getting in the other person's circle and all the funny business, but just being in such attunement that you kind of feel each other at a deeper level and know at a deeper level. Right? It's just really gorgeous when you start playing with this. Okay, the next one is 6. Now, this one and the next one are, again, a little close to each other. Bear with me. The words might trigger stuff. And just a little side note, if any of these feel like you want to throw up in your mouth, then they're not for you yet. And I say the word yet, tongue in cheek. Because once you go down this journey, they just become so gorgeous and you're like, and then you'll be something like, but of course, right? So just know there's a time and a place, and you might just not be ready for some of them. But so the first one is adoration. And you might be like, ew, I don't want to adore my partner. And if you have that reaction, it's totally fine. Maybe you're not ready for this one, or you might not want this one, and that's totally cool. To each their own, right? But if you're like, listen, I'll be curious. I'll bite. Give me more, Mom. What is this one about? And that is to cherish, to put your partner in a place of like, wow, my partner is so awesome. This human that I chose to be my partner, it's awesome. That gets so lost in translation when we are in a long-term relationship with somebody. I hear this so much in the couples that we work with, that when people are having a little bit of a struggle, it's very hard to adore their partner. So it's okay if you're like not excited about this word, but just know that it has to do with really appreciating the beautifulness of the human that you partnered with, looking at them as this human and all that they bring to this human experience, not the partner, however they're showing up in your relationship currently. You see this very, very, there's a good distinction there to help with that. So the next one might be even worse than adoration, and this one is devotion. So you're going to be like, what? So hopefully I'm making that up and you're not having any strong reactions. But I'm talking to those of you who are having a strong reaction. So the next one is devotion, and devotion has to do with really being committed at the deepest level, right? And at the end of the day, when I translate these words, they're actually not that yucky if you're struggling, right? If you think about them. But devotion has to do with like, yeah, but of course, this is my partner, right? And we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. We'll do no matter what. That level of commitment is hard to come by. And I really commend the couples that come to see us who are invested in working through whatever is troubling them at the moment and however they fell off their path, whatever struggles they're having, for the courage to be vulnerable, to shake up things, to go to these places, to take the risks. Like, man, my hat is off to you guys, and you all get gold stars for doing the work. Just gorgeous. So devotion, again, is a deeper level of commitment that has to do with, I am stretching to see all the good. I'm going to get out of my way so that I can see all the good. That's the key, people. I am going to really be in a place where I could see my partner. I'm going to try to be in a place where I could see my partner. I'm going to do the best that I can to be in a place where I could really see my partner and commit to this thing, to honor the commitment that we made, to make it work, right? And when you go at it from that level, you make it work, I promise, okay? So for those of you who might know a little bit of my story, there was a period in our relationship where some of this stuff came to be questioned. And I was like, nope, I am committed to making this work. And I did all of the things. And I say that in a way so that it gives people hope. It's not to shame people who don't put in the work, or people who put in the work and they don't want to put in the work anymore, or anything like that. Like, that's fine. We're all on a journey. We have all our own things. But what I'm offering is that if you're full in, you figure out what you need to do different. So it's not about like, I did all of the things, so now I'm done, right? Be careful with that, because it's not about doing all of the things. It's like, how do I need to be different so that something different can happen? It's not like doing all these things so that check, and it didn't work, right? So we have to be careful with this. Sometimes our ego gets in the way, but really humbly showing up to like, wow, how do I really do this so that it could work? Guys, that's like reconstructing ourselves. And this is coming from a relationship therapist, right? Woo! So just beautiful work. And it's so possible for those who want to go to those places. It's just a fun journey if that's part of your journey. Some people have all the things to do, and that's okay. Okay, so that was 7. 8, now they start getting better and funner. Those were kind of intense. The next one is 8, and it's affection. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And even though, actually, I should say that even though it's pretty self-explanatory, affection sometimes needs to meet our partner's preference, right? We could be affectionate in a way that our partner might not like, and vice versa. And so how do we do affection in a way that serves us both? That it touches our partner, that is easy for us to do, that replenishes and works for us, that it just is really good for both of us. So that could be tricky in and of itself, right? So these things could get complex if we allow them to, but just bringing mindfulness to all these things, that's the key. Number 9 is connection. And connection is about, how do we stay in the know? How do we stay bonded? How do we stay in a place where we feel our partner, even if they're not here? They could be across the globe, on the moon, but we still feel the connection. That's tricky to do sometimes. People could be in the same room and they feel disconnected, as you probably very well know. And so how do we create that connection? How do we sustain it? Because sometimes we feel connected and then the next day we feel disconnected, and then we feel connected and then we feel disconnected, and it's torture. But so how do we create something that's sustainable, that it feels good all the time without too much effort, right? So how do we create something that we automate creating connection? We use connection habits for this, right? So what do we need to put in place so that we easily create connection ongoingly? And then that helps us sustain it. And then our job is to just focus on deepening it. How do we make it more special, more meaningful, deeper, more rich? And that's fun. So then we bring that level to it. And the connection habits help with that, because then there's different habits that you put at different times of the day, different times of the week, that just allow for deepening and for being with each other more and more specifically and just better. And then the next one is 10, and that's intimacy. And now intimacy could be emotional intimacy, but in this particular context I'm referring to in terms of physical intimacy, where you actually have more physical moments, more sexy time, and enjoy each other. And it's not like I said before when I was talking about the characteristics that don't feel so good, that it might feel mechanical or superficial. But you have that level of intimacy where it's really pleasurable for each, where you're both really generous, where you take your time, where even if you have a quickie, it feels really meaningful, where you just take things to new heights. And that leads me to the next one, which is passion. You could just really add more and more wood to that fire. It doesn't have to fizzle. It doesn't have to be a little tiny flame, right? So you could fan it and then it could be bigger and bigger and bigger and be really, really steamy. Okay, my loves. So those are the 11. What I want to offer around this is that we don't have to make it complicated. We don't have to make it challenging. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to beat ourselves up. We don't have to shame ourselves. We don't have to beat our partner up or shame them or blame it on our partner and all the funny things that we might do when we have a little bit of a struggle in our relationship, or when we're going through like a little dip, which is very common. But instead is to be curious, to be interested, to be committed, and to say, okay, so we're in a little bit of a slump, or we're going through a phase, or we're pretty good, but hey, why not go for even better, right? So whatever state you're in, all of it is fabulous. It's part of your journey. So to look at all of this stuff from that perspective, it's all for you. It's all chosen. You're creating this. You're co-creating it. And your job is to do your side and to elevate you, what you contribute, what you put in, what you invest. Can you imagine showing up with all these characteristics as you're showing up with them? Like if you're flirting, there's no way that your partner can like be like, what's going on, right? And so at first they might be like, ew, or they might have a weird reaction, or they might be like, ignore it, like what's going on, right? But I mean, that's when couples are really struggling. Like if you're like not in a dire situation, most likely your partner will be like, oh, what's going on? And so when you start showing up differently with some of these things, and the more that you use them and the more that you use more of them, you will have an impact on your relationship. You just cannot have one. You put in the work, you will get the results. And do your side, play with these things, show up with this, make it a little challenge for yourself. How do I step it up? See what happens, play. And I would love to hear in the comments which one of these really resonated for you, which one you're like so interested in and that you're going to play with. And if you feel courageous and comfortable, share like what happened, how your partner responded to any of your attempts or your new characteristics that you're playing with. That would be so fun to hear. All right, so the key is to play with these, to be light about them, to have fun with them, to sprinkle them in, to just be lighthearted and just invest with these things and make them a practice of some sort. What do you need to put in place so you remember to play with these things, right? Do you need to set reminders on your phone, use a reminders app, use a reminder for each one of these with an alarm, like show up with this thing, or a little sticky note on your computer or whatever, different rubber band colors on your wrist to remember which one you're playing with for the day, whatever. Like make it cute, make it fun, be lighthearted about it, and just play. And practice. The more that you practice these things, the more you activate, and the more that you cultivate, and the more that you expand these things, and the more that you will feel the love partnership. That's the key. And then the third piece of that is to pledge to this commitment, to this investment, to this up leveling, right? So we're going to play with peace today. Usually you play with words with C. I don't know why I have that attraction. If anybody knows why C's are attractive, let me know in the comments. I'm curious. But today, peace came to be. And so we're going to play, we're going to practice, we're going to pledge. Okie dokie. So one more thing. I want to share some resources that you could find in all of our free content to support some of these things. So the things that came to mind as I was chatting and sharing with you, had to do. One of them was the connection habits. So if you go to my blog, metrorelationship.com/blog, and put in the search box connection habits, you will get a few blog posts that teach you how to create habits, what kind of connections habits there are, and all kinds of goodies. So you can play with that. Go to the resources tab on our website, metrorelationship.com/resources. I don't know if it says free resources or just resources, but just take a look. And go to February. There's a whole video around dating your partner, investing in the relationship, nurturing the relationship, all kinds of goodies that I did a couple of years ago for Valentine's Day and around the love theme for the month. And there's a downloadable there that helps you how to date your partner. So you're welcome to that so that you could step up the romantical side of things and the playfulness and the fun and the adventure and all the good things. That's the easiest way to invest in this stuff as well. Check out the YouTube. There's a few playlists around nurturing, enrichment, connection, and those might be helpful. I'll see what feels right, and I might add specific links, but feel free to go dig around in those places for those. Okay, I think that's it for today, my loves. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being here with me, sharing time, being open to the concept of creating a love partnership that usually gets lost in our life, and it's such a waste of an opportunity to have an amazing, grand life experience and amazing relationship with our partner. Let's create the epic love affair with our partner that we desire at deep down inside. Totally possible. Let's do it. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the next one. Bye.